This is Third and Goal. Preseason is here. The NFL is back, and we are going to break it down for you. Some of the key games from week one of the preseason, and also talking about some potential contract holdouts. Stay tuned for that as well.
My brothers don't die, we just rusty bark. I tell your girl to link me at the coffee shop.
So let's get into at least the first game of the preseason. Again, the drought is over. Football is back. Let's talk about one that I'm interested in. Atlanta versus Denver, the Hall of Fame game. And I got a question I'm sure a lot of Baltimoreans are asking. Is Flacco going to play? Do you think he'll see any quality time in this game?
I'm going to lean towards no, and I think if he does play, it's just going to be like a one series type deal. Yeah. I definitely don't think they're putting him out there much in this first game. It's the Hall of Fame game, Thursday, August 1st, the first game kicking off the preseason. Generally, you see a bunch of backups play. Mm-hmm. That's just generally the way it works for the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah. Again, you're right, backups play. But I am curious to see how Flacco does this preseason, just to see what happens. Because, obviously, former Ravens quarterback. But speaking of the Ravens, they take on the Jaguars August 8th. So I am excited about that. Definitely see a lot of the rookies. Still a lot of questions around Hollywood Brown's health. Will he see time? Who knows? I hope he is healthy enough to see. Honestly, unlike Joe Flacco, I actually do expect Lamar Jackson to play quite some time this preseason. I think the fact that he really needs to work on his passing mechanics, I think that was one of his weak points last season. I think they're going to try to give him as much reps as possible to get him ready. And, what better team to be tested than against the Jaguars defense, who, at least in the last few years, has been pretty decent.
Yeah, isn't that risky business, though, throwing Lamar out there a bunch?
It is, but I can see him out there like the first quarter at least. I just think that this preseason, I think we're going to see a lot more of him compared to maybe other starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. One of the things I'm looking forward to in this game is seeing how the new rookie running back for the Ravens, Justice Hill, is going to do.
Yes, I am actually very interested to see how he does, actually. Again, I've heard he plays a lot like Alvin Kamara, so it's going to be really interesting to see kind of that receiving back out of the backfield. That's going to be really awesome to have back there. I definitely think he'll be playing. Definitely, no question.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much usage he gets in the Lamar Jackson run offense. But, yeah, time will tell with that. Definitely, in preseason, you always want to see, first and foremost, how the rookies are going to play.
Yes, exactly.
So, I figure we'll also touch base on the Rams here. They're playing the Raiders in the first week of preseason. And it's going to be interesting seeing, again, sticking on the rookies, Darrell Henderson, who was drafted in the third round by the Rams. Now, this kind of, I guess, came about because there's concerns about Todd Gurley's knee and, his longevity in the NFL, knowing what they know now. He's got, arthritis in his knee or some shit. Yeah. So Darrell Henderson kind of the understudy or heir apparent, if you will, to Todd Gurley. And I'm excited to see how he does in this game. But you also, on the other side, got Josh Jacobs, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the first running back off the board in the most recent draft for the Raiders. So, two high-profile running backs coming out of this rookie class, both going to go at it in this one.
Yeah, big cleats to fill. It'll be interesting to see. Definitely the Rams, last time we saw them, wasn't exactly in the most positive situations. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. Definitely interested to see what the Rams do this season in general. Their division got a little bit more intense with the Arizona drafting Kyler Murray. So that'll be a little interesting to see what happens with there. But, no, I'm definitely interested to see where the Rams go.
And then there's two other games we want to touch on just because we thought that they were some interesting matchups for week one. First, you got the battle for New York with Jets versus Giants. And I think, it's hard to say with preseason because so many backups play. Mm-hmm. It can kind of skew what you might think will happen. But, I really expect the Jets to be way better than the Giants this upcoming season. And I think this could actually be a big leap for the Jets this season, given that they got Bell there now, Sam Darnold in a second year. It's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do in general this season. But for this matchup, it's just interesting because it's two New York teams going at it. And, it's always interesting when you get that local rivalry.
Yeah, and I'm really interested to see what Daniel Jones does at quarterback. Definitely for sure we're going to see him play. A lot of people were A little surprised that the Giants took him off the board as their first round quarterback, but it'll be interesting to see what they have. They don't have Odell Beckham Jr., so getting receivers playing time and getting them ready for the regular season will be probably high on the list for the Giants.
Yeah, and the Daniel Jones thing's really interesting to me from this perspective of typically when you look at sports commentary and the mainstream in particular, they don't like to talk bad about players, particularly before they've seen them play a whole lot. But it's interesting that it was pretty much unanimous that everyone thought Daniel Jones was a bad pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And so for Daniel Jones, this is your chance to
Mm-hmm.
really come out strong and show that you belong here and you deserve that spot as one of the first quarterbacks selected.
Yeah, definitely. Staying in at least the NFC East, the Redskins take on the Browns. Another good game. Again, anybody you want to see from the Browns is definitely not playing. The most you'll see from them is them in gym shorts on the sideline. But the Redskins definitely have some players that I'm definitely interested to see. Dwayne Haskins. How much will he play, if any? At the current moment, I don't think the Redskins have another option at quarterback. So, yeah.
So I believe their other quarterback they're looking at is Case Keenum, and it's going to be interesting because, I think Dwayne Haskins may just win the job outright and be the week 1 starter. But, you never know because a lot of times teams want to go with the veteran first until the rookie shows, okay, give me a chance to get this team to better results.
And we know Case Keenum can play. We saw what he did in Minnesota. So we do know that if need be, he can at least manage the game for him. But I definitely think Dwayne Haskins is the plan. I think that's definitely in the books to be who they hope will be their next franchise quarterback. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a smart kid, good athlete, good arm. So I think sooner than later he'll be starting.
And I wouldn't be a true BYU fan if I didn't bring up Sione Takitaki on the Browns, who has the coolest name in the NFL, Taki. He's playing linebacker, so I'm interested to see how he'll be because, indeed, he could potentially be a threat to Lamar Jackson, being in the AFC North. So I'm interested to see how he does in the NFL. Hoping for the best, just not against us.
And to close out our video, we just want to talk about some potential sticky contractual situations here because we got a few guys that might end up holding out because they're not happy with their current deal. It starts with Melvin Gordon on the Chargers. This is a guy that, has been a very productive running back in the league over the past couple years. And the thing is, though, I don't think he's got a whole lot of leverage here if he wants to hold out because the Chargers have a lot of guys they got to pay, and running back is typically not on the top of the pecking order for teams. And we even saw this last year when the Steelers were totally willing to let Bell just sit out the whole year. So I think running backs these days don't have much leverage in the holdout situations, but we'll see what happens. They might even trade him. I've heard some rumors that potentially Gordon could get traded to the Buccaneers or something like that. It would be interesting if he went to a team that really desperately needs a running back.
He could be a potential game changer for them.
And then there's some other guys. Darius Slay on the Lions, defensive back. He's established himself as a pretty reliable player. He's not happy with his contract. It'll be interesting to see how much leverage he has. Typically, defensive backs are a more crucial position to a team, so we'll see what happens there. Michael Thomas on the Saints also. There's actually talk that this deal's probably going to get worked out. He wants to be the highest paid receiver at $20 million a year.
Wow.
And the Saints are actually seriously considering giving this to him. They're right now, the negotiations are they're offering $18 or $19 million a year, but he's pushing for 20, and the reports are saying he's probably going to get it.
Contracts are just getting outrageous, And not to go too off subject, but I remember I was reading a few months ago, actually, when all those massive signings were happening, they're saying that Jalen Ramsey could potentially be one of the highest paid defensive backs. And it just goes to show, now Michael Thomas is a receiver, that makes sense, getting paid somewhere close to that money, but even defensive backs are starting to ask for wide receiver money. It's crazy. The market is totally changing in the NFL. Yeah.
Well, they're both very valuable positions.
Yeah, very valuable, yes.
So, especially a shutdown corner that commands premium money in the NFL. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with this, but again, like I said, Michael Thomas probably going to get $20 million a year and be the highest paid receiver. And though is he the most talented receiver in the league? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I mean, he's good. He's definitely good, but I wouldn't say he's the best.
Yeah,
he's not the best.
So then the last two guys I want to touch on. Trent Williams for the Redskins, their tackle. He's not happy with the money he's earning, and it's looking like he's going to sit out at like the mini camp and training camp. And we'll have to see if they get a deal done there. Offensive line, definitely one of those positions that teams want to address. So maybe he'll get his money. We'll see.
Especially for a rookie quarterback.
And then there's Chris Jones on the Chiefs, who was drafted in the second round and has established himself as one of the better defensive tackles in the league. He's still, I believe, on his rookie deal where he's not making very much money, and he's really wants to get that contract worked out rather than go through a whole other season and hit free agency. So right now, the Chiefs and Chris Jones are talking. I think a deal will get worked out there because they want to make sure he's in place for a potential Super Bowl run.
Definitely. Yeah, the Chiefs are definitely, I'm definitely interested to see what the Chiefs do because they're going to have to pay out a lot of money within the next couple of years. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they handle money from here on out.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, you have to, before you pay Pat Mahomes the big dollars, like, now's the time to make the Super Bowl run. Because once you pay your quarterback, generally that limits your chance. You can't pay the other guys.
Yeah, just ask Baltimore how that worked out.
As soon as you give Flacco the ridiculous amount of money, that hurts. But so that does it, everybody. Our first third and goal episode of the new NFL season, and we covered the first week of preseason, some potential contract holdouts. We're going to have more videos coming at you as time goes on, but this is a good start into the new NFL season.
Yep. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And next week, as planned, we're going to be planning on trying some very, very hot sauces here at LitTube. I am so excited for that. So stay tuned for that and more. Also, we got some UFC videos coming out this week as well. Take care.